Bonjour. So, Robs, welcome to the YouTube supporter tier. Thank you very much for becoming a supporter. What's up, Robs? Roro, Milo, Neural, how we doing? And anybody else that's hanging out with us, be sure to drop into the chat and come and say hello. How is everybody doing? We have had a week off to enjoy ourselves. I'm very good, Milo. Thank you for asking. I am very good. I'm sort of getting back into the flow of content creation, if you want to just give it a title. Having a week off, I really felt like I just completely disconnected from work, and also job create as well for a little bit, which was nice, obviously. But now I'm trying to get back into it. So Paris was great, good fun. I enjoyed it. I loved it. It chucked it down for the entire time that we were there, so we ended up with our little ponchos on and whatnot, but we had a great time. It was really good, and we definitely made the most of it, which was cool. Neural says, how is everyone? I'm trying to come up with a design for the coronation to put onto mugs for street party. That's a cool idea. I was also thinking of making a design or tutorial along that basis. Rob says, I've got a new 24-inch iMac watching you on the big screen. Oh, sick. Which color did you go for? Is it one of the new ones with the cool colors on it? Today's concept as well is we're using a perspective guide, and I've got a couple of reference images on Pinterest sort of sat, but essentially like a cobbled street with the bricks, etc., and then a puddle, except mine's going to be at sort of night rather than this one. So I already have the perspective set up and a very simple sketch as well. I'm just going to work off of that and see where we come up with. I've not drawn anything somewhat like this. It's referred to sort of night in this kind of aspect. It's a little bit different. There's a few things to think of in regards to like lighting and stuff, but it's all good. We've got the sort of side, I mean, everybody over there will call it the sidewalk, but the sidewalk is going to be like here pretty much. And then these are just some larger concrete blocks that are just up against the street. And then essentially where you got this area down here, you may be able to spot it. I'll duplicate it a few times so you can really see my sketch. Here's going to be like a puddle that's up against the curb. And then we're going to have the puddle itself reflecting the street lights from above. And then that'll be the design, really. That'll be what we rock with. So just a little something just to mess around with. What's up, Luna? Good evening, you beautiful monsters. I don't know how to, nah. I'll take it as a compliment. So I'll get cracking on this one, and we'll see where we end up. I did somewhat mock one up before, but it was just like just me. I always, before I get on a lot of the time, I typically what colors could I use? I'm gonna have to really put one together. I typically just have a little bit of a mess around with some colors. I might use this one actually for a minute, just as a basis. Did I see the fireworks at Disney? I did indeed. There was no drone shows or anything, which was really disappointing, but you know, it's what it is. There's no point in complaining about it. But yeah, we definitely saw the fireworks show. Me and Mrs. Crate went like 5 years ago, so it was cool to see the display again, but it was almost identical to the last time we went, so I enjoyed it the first time, so it was great to see it again. And our friends, they had their little girl who is 2 or 3, I can't remember off the top of my head, but 2 or 3, and we queued for an hour to see Mickey Mouse, where they do like the character meets, and she is just not interested at all. She didn't want to hug or hold or anything. What's up, Kat? Just here to listen to Joel's voice. You're too kind. Yeah, too kind. You not come here to see this fresh trim? No. Cheat. Unbelievable. Don't know why I bother. Don't know why I bother. Sheesh. How's life, Cat? Good to see you as well. We haven't seen you for ages. Well, it feels like ages. Let's put it that way. Chuck that in there. I have no idea what this top space is going to be. Probably just darkness, to be honest. I'll have to work some out. Just blocking in the shapes first of all. Just starting with something really simple. And then we'll work on each shape and see where we get to. I want to keep the sort of street lights a little bit simple. I was going to go for something like a Victorian style light, which I thought would have been really cool, but I don't want to get into that level of detail just yet. The whole practice of this particular design for me is working in the perspective, as well as I want to draw in the reflections and things like lighting and puddle light, the way the puddle reacts to the lighting, and the raindrops as well. I'm going to chuck some raindrops in there as well. So let's just darken up that top area. I think we'll just make it like a dark grey for a minute, and we'll work on it shortly. All the colours are a little bit blue at the minute, so they will need adjusting, probably to like a warmer colour, which I think that's what I'll do now. We'll just adjust this to a little bit of a warmer tone. Probably drop the saturation down a little bit. That's fine. Grab that colour and we'll chuck it. Yes, we'll chuck it in that layer too. And then let's get started with the puddle itself. I scored on Sunday. You'll have to check it out. Oh, make sure to put the link in the random stuff category over on Discord, or just send it to me if you want to. I don't mind. Rory says, I tried to find the guy who left a comment to give my... No, that's deliberately why I hid their name. You don't have to go over there. I told them to politely fuck off. So I've got no other way of telling them. So apologies for my language, but yeah. Sometimes that's the only way to tell someone like that. Fascinating comment though. Truly fascinating. Oh, hang on. Before I do the puddle, let's get the brickwork in there first. And I created a brush for this as well, just quickly, just mocked up like a set of bricks. There we go. It's called wood lining at the minute, but love what you said to that. People are so weird. That's the thing. Like the thing that's interesting is I'm not putting that comment in there for anything other than for you guys to just for conversational purposes. That's literally it. I don't think there's anything a lot of people could say to me on the internet that I would give a damn about in the slightest. Like, I truthfully do not care at all. Like, I don't understand why I feel like that, but I do, and it's a good thing. Like, if you put, at the end of the day, I heard someone say once, and it was like, if you're going to put yourself out on the internet, you have to be willing to sort of take the mick out of yourself, because other people will just do it for you, which is true. But at the same time, I guess I'm just above it in a way. Like, I just really couldn't give a damn about their comments, other than to for you guys to take a look and just yeah, just kind of something to talk about, something to laugh about, really. That's it. But yeah, I couldn't give a monkeys. You see how using that brick there just to distort, I wanted it's meant to be like a cobbled street, so my sort of poorly put together bricks there is actually a good thing, because I can sort of manipulate some of those shapes to like be a little bit more rounder and softer. Funky, it's over on Discord in the random stuff thread. You'll see it in there. It's just someone leaving a comment that was just quite funny. It is a good attitude to have. It is. It just doesn't faze me. I remember in the beginning when I first started doing this, it did. There was someone that commented that really did get under my skin a little bit, but now I just don't care. People are weird. That's what I think about it. I think that person's weird because that comment is just weird. There's no other word of putting it. It is a weird comment from a weird individual, and that's fun. But again, it's just funny to talk about, I think. And I said this on the podcast that I was on that time, that like I haven't really had that many sort of trolls in a way such as that. So when you do get one, it's good to know that you're mentally all right with it, because you could easily just be like, oh, I'm packing this in. I'm done with this. People are going to talk to me like that for a free tutorial. I'm done. But I can, like I said, keep saying I don't really care. But it's just good to know you're a bit resilient to it, you know. Can you guys see? You can just about see what I'm doing, yeah? I'm adding the texture to the bricks at this point. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and adjust some of them. I'm going to add the puddle in first and then try to get the puddle to sort of, you see the bits in the gaps of the, I was about to point to the screen up there, like this is the first time I've ever done this. And I was just about to do it again. The gaps here where you got the concrete in between the bricks, I'm going to have the puddle sort of trying to make its way like through the concrete parts. Oh my goodness, didn't turn the hot tap on my bath. It's freezing. You're watching in the bath. What's up, Mayak? I always butcher that. I always apologise. That's too bright, but it gives me somewhat of the impression that I'm going for. Why is that? I want those bricks to be nice and solid. Yep. We've got the ground and the concrete. Let's add some texture to the concrete for a second. There is a concrete brush, and we'll try that one. A lot of this is me also experimenting with using different brushes still, but also just trying to work out, sometimes I try to do things probably a little bit too manually, rather than utilize some of the brushes that are available. Like, something like this is a nice, quick and easy texture that we can chuck into the gaps. And I don't even think I need to distort this, but I will. Just a little bit of texture in the gaps, just something like that's fine. We'll clip it just in case, but then that just gives a little bit of detail in some of these gaps between the bricks. It's in the random stuff category under general channels. Okay, so now let's try and get my stencil back into place, and let's see what I can do now about lining that up with the ground that we just created. And I'll create, let's just grab a random color for a minute, and let's go to calligraphy, and let's just draw in a line that goes behind the bricks here. And then we're gonna just let that run towards here. I'm going to go across this line of the bricks and then maybe round that brick. Let's cut the corner on this one. Let's cut the corner on that one too, and then maybe go along it. Round this one here too. So what I'm looking for is like the lines in the concrete would be slightly indented, or slightly lower. So the bricks would be slightly raised. So the concrete here acts as like a channel for the rain and the puddle here. Let's go all the way down here, cut that corner there. Now, do I want to go wide there, or do I want to keep that quite close, or do I just literally just cut across there? That's fine. Maybe we cut across this one here too, and this one here as well. And then back there we try to sort of just run that in a bit more of a direction. This is quite fun. And then just run that off to the edge. That's fine. Because that's so far back again. Trying to always teach myself and you guys that it doesn't really matter when it's that far away. That's cool. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just increase the reach of this one a little bit, like along these lines, and drag the color into here, and maybe even the odd little sort of area of water in the concrete that's just on its own, a little gap. That's cool. That'll add some extra areas rather than one big puddle. Like a few little areas of color there. I like that. That's very cool. Let's come along this one here as well. Fill this one in. Awesome. Okay, that's fine. I left a further reply today because they responded, so. But we're not going to get bogged down in it, folks. We'll just leave it, let it be. Let some low life have enjoy their 5 minutes that they had and crack on. Okay, cool. We've got the foundations really of everything. Could probably turn off my stencil now and take a look at the scene and see what we can do with it. I think the first thing to do would probably be the light source and work out where the light is. Let it go, let it go. People could be bad and rude online. The person was rude, yeah, and shows no respect. Thank you, Nurul. I'm quite intrigued to see how it turns out as well, to be honest. Let's try and grab some. I think it's like going to be this type of color in like a warm orangey tone for the curb. Let's drag that into there. That's a little bit too colorful. We'll take that down a little bit, drop the saturation. If not, also drop it a little bit darker than that. That's fine. And then we'll go for the top layer and we will just introduce a bit more color onto the top. That's kind of come together a little bit more now. I kind of understand where we're going with it. So yeah. Yeah, funky. It was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Okay. Oh, one thing I've forgotten, which I'm actually, and also just so you know, I'm going to paint this in as well. So I'm going to continue with my normal Nico roll, the stucco, all those types of brushes. So we, yeah, we can go from that. And what I am going to do, just very quickly, is what I always do is sort of create base layers for everything and then create the palette from there. So I always keep the base layers and then I can just chuck all these colors. So let's grab that and chuck that in the palette. Let's grab that color and that color. That color is that color. That's fine. The sky for a minute is just that color, so we'll just chuck that over there, and then I can build up on top of that. We have the texture on the bricks, which is a little bit heavy, and we've got the texture in between the bricks. That's cool. It'll work out. I'm sure it'll be fun. Take no notice of them, Joel. We love you tutorials. Thank you. I appreciate it, but I do not take any interest in someone's comment like that. This one, Milo, you referring to? Rob says, "Hey, my chat window popped out. How does one get it back?" I think you just close it and it pops straight back into the browser, I think. Okay, So let's draw in the lamp upside down in the water. Oh, this is really interesting because the bricks and stuff are gonna have to be, let's duplicate that and then merge that to that, because this actually, the water itself here, because it's going to house some reflections, actually needs like a bunch of stuff clipping to it. So the reflection you see in there is actually a layer that's clipped. If I turn that up to 100% and then we put that in, that's actually clipped to that layer. There's like a little bit of, not math almost, but a little bit of planning and stuff here that's working its way into it. I also not sure I need my drawing guide on at this point. Okay, very interesting. The one you're doing, John. Fair enough, But other than that, guys, we have not really anything else has changed. Still just another week. Let's match up to the width of that as much as we can. And so I'm thinking, obviously we're seeing the reflection, so I want to make that a little bit taller maybe. To like there. And then my idea is, let's use calligraphy just for a minute. We'll round off the top. Not worried about mini details because it's probably going to be unusable shortly anyway. And then we'll just create a large arc that comes out from the top. Oh, I'm getting too used to Infinite Painter there. I need to create an arc outwards from there and then edit arc up here. So in Infinite Painter, you actually just tap directly on the shape that you just created. That's cool, that works for me. We'll clip that into the stack, so now it hides just here. That's gonna be our light. And so, this is gonna get a bit nuts in a minute. So we'll try and work it out as we go. We will draw in the sort of plastic that sits at the bottom, at the underside of the light. That's cool. And then what's going to happen is I want this one just to maybe just introduce itself on the side here. So if I actually merge those two layers together for a second, duplicate that, scale it up in size and move it across to like here, that is somewhat running down, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to just sneak one in based on the perspective. That's fine. Okay, that is fine. The only thing I need to bear in mind is that there is another lamp here. So all of these bricks here are going to have a light coming from this way and from that way. So we've got two light sources to sort of consider. I'm going to crack straight on with the bricks and we'll just see how we get on. Let's grab some sort of highlight color, like a little orangey yellow tone. Let's keep it dull for a minute and go from there. You've all gone quiet on me. Are we just watching? Or has the stream just crashed? You can't hear me or see me. Let's not clip it. Let's be a bit brave and just not clip it. Now this is probably going to be a little bit of a pain to do this. So that brick there is getting light from that direction and from the left. So I'm just going to chuck this in on all layers and just see how we end up. Yeah, double light in, that's fine. This one here we can start to maybe be a bit more rounding. All right, I'll let you off. I think, to be honest with you, that initial color is probably a little bit too bright. Let's just take a look at some of the reference images. There's lines in the paint as well, which I would like to get. I don't think there's any more underneath here, although maybe there will be. It doesn't look like there is. But yeah, that's my sort of guide in a sense with the concept. So the concrete's actually darker in that aspect. So this one here, maybe we actually do go to hue, saturation and brightness and we drop it down to the point where it's darker than the bricks. I think I'm fine with that if this color here is maybe made a little bit brighter. Okay, I'll have to adjust that in the palette. That's fine, that's cool. Because what I'm thinking also is if I create another new layer and we maybe go to like a really dark color, I can actually create sort of the back end of these as well, like a shadowy tone, just to really round off the shape. It's going to be a long old process, this. But yeah, just like round off the back end there, just to really raise them out of the ground a bit more. We'll see how it goes. What's up, Bella? How are you doing? Good afternoon, everyone. Lurking, and we'll do some stuff around the house. That's no worries. That's no worries. Okay, cool. Let's just go back to the highlight tone that we made. If anything, I want to reduce it down a little bit. Bring the saturation down. It feels like it's been forever since I've been here. 2 weeks for me. Same for me, really. Wasn't here last week. But what's up, Jay? This is very interesting how this could work out. And then I'm also like highlighting the edge where the puddle is as well. When they're getting a little bit further back, I do want to just calm down the texture a little bit. I don't want to do too much in areas where I can't really see it too much. It's getting a little bit too compressed. So like here, for example, I'm now just sort of scribbling on top of the bricks. They're right underneath the light source as well. It's also coming from the side from our other lamp. And then maybe here at the curb is just going to block out some of that lighting. So maybe it won't creep its way around onto it. So these ones over here, because I'm imagining they're kind of like a little bit more underneath the light, that they're getting a little bit more. Whereas these ones over here, especially like out here, these ones are just going to get the edges of them a little bit more rather than the whole brick. It's hard to see where the water's edge is. There it is. You see, just like a little something like that, just a little bit, maybe the odd little scribble over the top. I'm really trying to just enjoy the process of just being a bit carefree and just being confident that one, it will work out, and two, of course, like basically, as the jumper suggests, trust the process. It will come out in the end, and it's all about building it up. Like all of this right now is really like a bit of a painful process, but to build up the color and stuff, it's just going to take a little bit of time just to get all the light in and the angles right for all of the bricks. And a brick like that is lovely. It's like one with like extra bumps and not a flat surface on the top. That looks lovely. Very we call it like cobbled streets. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Do you miss us, Joe? What, when I'm not streaming? Not when I'm not streaming, but when I know I'm going to stream, I do really look forward to it. I love coming on here and doing this. My biggest fear though is coming on here and no one's here anymore. No one cares anymore. No one wants to hang out with me. So I think if I came on and it was like 0 viewers for any longer than 5 minutes, I'd be off. That'd be pretty brutal, wouldn't it? Just coming online and just hanging out. I don't know how people do it when they're first learning to stream and stuff. Like it is, it's got to be really, you got to be really resilient. I'm lucky that I started streaming once there was an audience, if that makes sense. Whereas some people just have to build an audience first. That comes first, rather than the stream. So yeah, this is quite therapeutic. It's quite nice to see that when you zoom out, all the, it's all facing the same way. It's nice and uniformed. All the lighting's good. These ones back here, I'm giving a little bit more of a gloss to, because one, I want to kind of show that they're a little bit wet from the rain, but also that street light is right here. So all of these lights now are going to start to sort of bounce onto the top of all of these bricks, should I say. So these ones back here are going to be a lot more coloured, and I'm going to try to be easygoing on it and just chuck in the colour. Just chuck it in. I said it in a tutorial. Somebody picked that up recently. It was like my new favourite saying of Joel's is just chuck it in and see what happens. And that's cool. We'll add a little bit of light in on these ones back here, just facing the underside of that street light. That's cool. Where's the music gone? Some tracks randomly just don't play. We love to share this time with you and watching you draw. Neural says, this is amazing to watch. I had an idea the other night of something I wanted to draw, and cobble street lit street single lamp was part of it. The image I had in mind, so now learning. That's awesome. Put it into practice, everything that you see here. Lots of scribbles. Always using the same brush as well. I think it's quite something that probably needs discussing a little bit more with, like maybe a video of some sort, just like stop buying brushes. This is why you should stop buying brushes, or something like that. Like learn the brushes that are in Procreate first. Make sure you can use them, and then when you need a brush for something specific that Procreate doesn't provide, then that's the only time I recommend you buy some, even though, again, I say this every time, I sell some, but you could argue that that still makes sense, because, my brushes are for a purpose of like needing a wood texture, for example. Just chuck it in, your new merch slogan. Yeah. Right. Let's then also, so we've done all the highlights on the same layer as the shadows. That's fine, it doesn't matter. Let's just grab a dark tone now and take a look at the back side of some of these bricks. Can we darken them up to get rid of some of that solid shape? Can we also chuck in the odd little scribble of darkness on top of the pebbles, on top of the surface, just to add in like the odd sort of deep groove and bump and lump in it, I don't buy brushes anymore, Rob says, but I'm a huge sucker for stamps. Oh, interesting. I used to get absolutely told off by a lot of people in the early days of doing all this for using stamps too much. so funny when you start off, you're like, I've got to do everything to appease, like make everybody happy, you know? Everybody needs to be happy, and you know, oh, I should stop using stamps now because you know this person said it, so there must be more people. Now I'm like, nah. Listen, if I want to use a stamp, I'm going to use a stamp, you know? Like, just making sure that you do what you want to do as the creator. Also, I've spoken about Angry Miko before on stream. He just released a course over on Gumroad, so in case anybody really likes his work, he just released that, so you can go check that out over on his page. I saw a little trailer for it and whatnot. I might even treat myself to it. Always up for learning a few new skills. And one thing I'm doing now, who said about actually neural, is that like just occasionally like make a groove between a set of bricks a little bit bigger or smaller, and that way you can sort of give off the impression that it's really not an even surface at all, and then that way you create more variety in the elevation of some of the bricks and whatnot. I'm going to leave those details back there. I don't really want to add in too much back there, too much detail too far away. That's cool. We got a lot of the street light stuff in. Let's actually, oh, hang on. Okay, let's have a look at this one here. I can see that the bricks and stuff in there are done. They do have the same aesthetic. They're just a different hue. And so they do need some shadows technically in here as well. So that's a bit disappointing, but we have to do it. I'll probably just like lower the opacity down of the layer to like 50 maybe, and get in here and, oh, we need to darken up the concrete gap, don't we? So that's what everything is clipped to. That in fact needs to be duplicated, layered above everything, and then this one needs to be this color. Sorry, 2 seconds. So that's now turned on. If I turn that off, those bricks are now really, really dark. But if we bring this on and we turn it on and lower it down, I'm trying to work out the best way to create the reflection. For example, if I set these bricks now to 100%, I set the shadow to 100% and everything else inside it. If I layer one layer over the top, maybe that's just enough to give off the reflection. And that actually looks pretty good with the fact I can just about see some of the bricks in there, but I can also see the reflection. So there's like a real balance of like, you've got two worlds that you're trying to show. You're trying to show the reflection and you're trying to show what's through the, you know, through the water. What's up, Tammy? The only brushes I've purchased were stamps for map making. Oh, that's really cool. I saw a guy on TikTok do that kind of stuff. He just chucks a scribble on and then creates a world from it. Made me want to like create a tutorial on something like that one day. Very cool stuff. Very cool. So if we set this to like really another new layer, drop this to low, we create like highlights on the bricks the same way, but like lower opacity, so it's underneath that surface, because they would still get lighting. Just like maybe like really light like that. That's cool. I think that helps the whole idea. It's like really light texture, or lighting, should I say. I can't really see those bricks too well. I think that would very quickly fade out, as in like, you know, I'll draw in a couple more over here. Maybe I turn that off for a second. What's this layer set to? If I invert that for a moment. Okay, now I can see the bricks. That's fine. I can also see where I've tried to make up some bricks as well, like here. Just going to keep this really simple for a minute. Just like the edges of some of these bricks in the ground. Had a really good week actually, saying that. Like, subscribers have been really good on YouTube this week. I don't know, I think a lot of people have seemed to be posting their finished creations in like Facebook groups, which is always really good for me. It helps more people, you know, find tutorials, whether they're old or new. But yeah, they seem to be posting a little bit more, which is great. And yeah, subscriber counts very good. My goal is to hit 40k by the end of the year. We should do that, as long as there's like a minimum. I don't know what I worked the number out to be, but there's a minimum amount I just need to hit every single month in order to hit that. And with like good months, it's really nice for me, because I think, yeah, cool, we're actually going to be like, we're actually getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, which is great. You could afford to have like a couple of really bad months. So yeah, that's really good, really good. All moving towards that little goal. So that's cool. We've got the water there, which is nice. And there's a couple of things that I noticed in the photograph here. There's a few edges that are like white lighting. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to here. And on the edge of the water, we will add in some like white-ish color. Maybe even like this color. So like around here. What would be useful actually is if I could see that shape. That's actually a little bit easier for a second. Let's then go around this edge here. I'm going to continue with this color, although I don't think it's technically the right color to use. But around some of these edges here, around the edge, just a few, not all of them. Especially the ones here that are a little bit closer, we can add in those lovely little highlight edges. They don't look like much right now, but there'll just be that little something just beside the water's edge. Not quite like a breaking tide, obviously, because that wouldn't be the case, but just like that little bit of watery lighting. It's really close to the edge here, and I'll stop them there. So now if I go to, what did I do? Turn that on, invert that back. Now the edge of the puddle has like those little effects on the end. You see the difference there? Oh, what am I doing? That's lovely. It's also going to help outline a few of these like stray bits here that I created. That's nice. That's nice. That's cool. Love that. Cool. Now I think, to be honest with you, at some point I'll probably just boost the highlights of that quite a bit and make them a little bit brighter. But I think for the minute we'll leave it as is. I don't want to go too mad too quickly with the colors, so let's see what we end up with. Right, let's go into the curb here on the side. Profile, that's the one. Let's then grab like this dark tone here, for example. Let's add in just some Nico roll, I think, and just run that up and down here. Adding in some texture. What I also need to do is add in some like gaps in the oh, that's actually where I'll reintroduce my drawing guide. I'll reintroduce here some gaps in the concrete, like little bits where they're like Do we want to do gaps or do we want to do... No, let's do it. Let's do it. But smaller than that. We'll go 3 across. So 1, 2, 3 goes to here. The only problem is that doesn't actually necessarily scale. So I'm gonna have to be a bit cheeky and go like half a size here. And I'll move across 2. So 1, 2. I'm just gonna have to guesstimate this, I think. What's up, Lindsay? How are you doing? Milo says, now I see. A little suggestion. Why not use the chalk brush for the highlights? Just a suggestion. It's a good idea. I might revisit them potentially. What's up? Sorry I'm late. I missed you, Lindsay. It's unacceptable. We start when the stream starts, okay? Don't give a damn what you're doing. You drop it and you get here. All right? I don't want to hear your excuses either. Just stop. Just don't. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Cool. Perspective lines here are going to help. It's fine. Love that. That's cool. It's coming along. It's coming along. That's me told. Shall I sit on the naughty step jar? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Okay. This concrete up here. What are we going to do with this? I think maybe we just like... We've got 2 lampposts bizarrely quite close together. Maybe we just sort of darken up in the middle there, darken up on the edges where it rolls round, like a little gap like that maybe. We'll roll with that for a minute. I have no idea if this is ever going to be a tutorial, but we'll find out. It's getting a little bit all over the place. Yep, got to be a bit bolder with that side. Well, that's what happens when you don't show up for a week. I get out of the swing of things. Listen, I can say the T word, alright? Alright? It's you lot that can't say it. Right. Everybody shut up a second. Right. Let's get this lamppost done. Okay, I think the blue is really off-putting. We're going to grab like a bit more of a neutral grey colour. We'll drag it into both of these for a second. And the lamppost down here as well, just for a sec. In fact, that's actually even more jarring to see it like that. I need it like a dark grey. Just close to silver. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Right, so let's just do some basic light into this. So we're going to see if this is our lighting color. Let's add in the mid-tone first. We're going to see a little bit of lighting coming across from the opposite side. That's fine, but that was a bit crazy. That's fine. This one equally would have like a bit of a brighter edge where that one's coming across, and maybe even one from the left hand side where there's maybe one out of frame somewhere. There's just a couple of light sources on them for a second. Let's also do the same, I think, for this one. Oh, hang on. Oh my. Okay, let's select that. Turn off color fill, and we'll mask it. I'm going cross-eyed today. I'm doing that thing again. I think that's when my eyes go tired. Right, my eyes just can't focus properly. Where you want to ban me for 5 minutes again? We can do it, but you just got to sit through it. Does anybody no, nobody did the, nobody wants to do the T emoji for me. Right. Let's go ahead and brighten up to the same extent the edge here of the lamppost. Just the same way we did it a second ago. We'll maybe even darken up under here, because there wouldn't be any light here because it's facing, it's like the top end of it, isn't it? It's like out of view. So we can, like, in fact, just darken up here and just let that fade out a little bit. That's cool. Okay, let's just jump to this top layer up here, and that's cool. Let's then, okay, we've got a lot of layers up there. Let's create a new layer here, and let's try to sort of just show the lighting from the street light on that curb. Likewise, another one here too. The only thing that's really annoying me about this is the fact that there's two lampposts too close together. If this was landscape a little bit more, if this just was landscape, it would be nicer, for the simple fact that they wouldn't be quite so close together. But they are. I'm not redoing it. That's quite a huge change to do just off the fly. So darken around it a little bit, and also create like somewhat shadows off of it, just where like other light sources are. Let's set this maybe to a blend mode. Add always looks awesome, always. The only problem is I don't know what I'm going to do behind here. Oh, sorry, the size for, sorry. So if you guys want to make a emoji that is for the banning of the T word, so it needs to be 128 pixels by 128 pixels. So 128 by 128. It should be something like you create whatever you want, but essentially it's if somebody says the T word, if you are a YouTube supporter here, you can smash that emoji into the chat and let them know it ain't happening. You're getting banned. So somewhat along the lines of, I don't know, maybe a cross through a T, or like a stop sign with a T in the middle. I don't know, something like that. You guys have some fun if you want to come up with something. But yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking of. If we get one and we like it, we all agree. Well, sod everybody else. If I like it, I'll make sure to use it. And you make it the next emoji for the supporters. So yeah, Kat, have some fun with that if you want. That'd be cool. That'd be greatly appreciated as well. Now somebody said something a second ago. Is the water a reflection? Yes, that is the lamppost. That is a puddle here. So in a minute, we have to turn this light on, add some reflection onto the water and stuff as well. We're getting there. We're getting there. And what I'm actually thinking is if I duplicate that, alpha log that, turn that up to 100% and change that to the color that I'm using for my light source, I drag that into there now. I turn that down to maybe like 41% and we grab a soft airbrush, we could try something a little bit like this, where we do a little, like where the lighting hits on the water, looks a bit more like that. Just a test, let's see how that goes. And then we set that to a blend mode and see what we get. I did think add would be the one, but it doesn't look like it will be. Although it does look good, actually. It's going to have a lot of ripples in this as well. I'm going to try my best to try and adjust all of these. But that kind of does work a little bit. The top of this doesn't. I don't really like how that looks. But we'll see what we can do up there. I'm thinking in the background there, just chucking like a bush in there of some sort. To see what... You know, just something back there. It can't be empty. Emoji 128 by 128. New challenge for the T word. Be creative. Yeah. What's up, Red Mystica? Hi guys. So, anyways, is this gonna be? Hey, that is a wild way to be coming into the chat. You've missed me, I appreciate it. I've missed you all too. We were just talking about that, actually. Uh-oh, Red, you're not supposed to ask. Hey, you're taking the mess. You're taking the mick. Okay. Where are we going with this? One thing I do want to introduce is, and I saw it a second ago, I thought it looked really cool, is if we go to like a really bright yellow tone with this, I want to introduce the lines on the bricks. So I'll draw in, wait, that's all connected to that. That's the reflection. That is, okay. So let's go here, for example. Let's just draw in 2 lines. So this is a double parking for anyone outside of the UK. Let's not press quite so firm and add in some texture in there. That's cool. Let's grab distort. Whoa. What is going on there? And then if we grab the eraser, we go to painting, Nico Roll, zoom in. Let's mask this out. Can't really see the lines too much, but we'll see what happens. I want it to be a little bit scratchy, a little bit. That's cool. Okay, that's better. We've got this one here that runs all the way across this line here. We can get rid of this here too. And I think there's a gap there as well. I want this to be like really eroded, a bit like the reference photo. I can show you again in a second. That's cool. Let's get rid of some of this, like really eroded. That doesn't make any sense, but that one's fine. Terry. I'll miss all of you. Come on, you lot, calm down. I'll miss all of you. Don't you be making me pick favourites. Because it'll be none of you. It'll be absolutely none of you. Fine. It's now me trying to work out this lighting situation, which is roughly off of there. So let's just see what we come up with. I think we need to turn this light on and build from that. Let's not do it on the same layer. Let's go ahead and drag the color into there, and I'm just going to I'm going to use the soft airbrush for lighting. It doesn't make sense to use paintbrush. But I think it needs to be flattened. I think. Yeah, it does. That's fine. I like that. But let's try and scale this up in size and really try and fill out more of the puddle. That's nice for a second. If we turn this layer on, we set that to a blend mode. Like something like that with like a good solid amount of contrast. That's cool. I like that. Soft light looks good. Does it change it? Soft light looks very good. Yeah. Yep. Right, let me catch up. I see Julie occasionally. I think I saw her. Where did she message me? I can't remember where or when, but yeah. This is the thing, like when I do stuff like this, is like, I've said this loads of times, but it's like people will roll in and out all the time of the space. And it's cool, you get to see like loads of new faces, which is awesome. But people just come in and come back when, you know, when potentially it's winter or something like that, or, you know, life takes different directions and stuff, and I appreciate that with a lot of people. You know, they have new things pop up, like Lindsay just bought it was Lindsay, wasn't it? No, was it Lindsay? Someone's bought a new house. Who bought a new house? Someone just said it over on Discord to me. Oh God, who was it? Someone help me. Bella, we're drawing a reflection of a street light in like a cobbled street. So I'm just working on how we can get that. Was it Wendy, was it? Why, what did Jay say? Yeah, Julie hasn't been here for a while. I know I haven't drawn much, but I'm still able to make a live stream. Yeah, for sure. I love that. And that's the thing, like, you don't have to be drawing if you want to just come and hang out with us. Come and keep me company while I lose my mind over how many bricks I've drawn. Change that to add, and let's add in some lovely shiny glossy details really close to some of these bricks here that are like right on that edge. That's lovely. It's gonna come together. It's gonna come together. Wendy bought a new house, that's the one. Yes, sorry, Bella, yeah. Old cobble street, and then trying to work on reflection. I'm going to introduce rain and whatnot shortly, just to add in some like atmosphere and environment to the scene. But right now I'm just trying to work out how the lighting works. This is quite a good practice for me. I like drawing this kind of stuff, but yeah, just I've got multiple light sources that I've got to consider, and yeah, see how it goes. Everything's going to have a bit of a glossy look to it because it will be raining in the scene. So I'm trying to now just introduce all these brighter areas to some of these, and making sure like there's the odd little patch here and there that does have a good amount of lighting on it. Now some of those look a bit much, but it's true that the light would be coming across. Maybe I focus it a bit more on the left when it's over here, because it's a bit of a distance away from those bricks from that light source. So maybe like over here I focus it more on the left side, a little bit on the right. Where we've got the other street light just out of view slightly. Back here we're going to get a bit brighter because these are, well, right underneath our light source. That's fun. It's nice. What's up, Maddie? Can you please tell me how to make shadow for a face, please? I don't personally draw any faces. There's lots and lots of tutorials out there, though. It's a skill in itself, and it's something that takes a lot of time and practice. And that's not really my little space, unfortunately, for your request. But there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube if you want to go and check them out for that kind of thing. But yeah, drawing faces, I always get asked about it quite a lot, and it's just not something I draw. Like I said, drawing faces on its own is something you need to literally put, you know, they always say you need to put like 1,000 hours, don't they, into something. Well, you know, that is one of those things very much that you need to focus a lot of time into to get right. Okay, that's coming together nicely, and I really like how that worked out in the end. Well, not in the end, but we're not finished. Let's see what we can do up top here with some of this lighting in this space here. Could we create a new layer that's set to add? I want to continue with like the nice yellowy tones, so I really want to now get a bit braver with chucking in some lighting around this area here, really showing that that light from above is crashing down onto the ground. And then this one with like a slightly smaller glow, potentially. Not quite as big a reach, but it's still nice and bright. That works for a minute. That's fine for a second. It looks a bit... Do you know what? It doesn't look that bad, actually. It doesn't look that bad. The only thing I need to do, again, is just create another new layer and just shadow in the bottom of the lamps. And it would actually, because the lamp overlaps into the street, technically it would create a shadow backwards on itself. So we can introduce that into the scene, block out the bottom of it a little bit and add in a bit of a shadow backwards. Let's adjust that angle a little bit more. That's cool. I really like that. Let's get in here and add in some crispy details at the top. This is getting a bit nuts with the detail or layer count. This is just a fun drawing exercise. Maybe we'll see it as a tut. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Okay, that's fine for a second. That's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you very much for your answers. No problem. Maddie, try a tutorial from Flo. She's done faces. Yes. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll see. We'll see. It's a cool idea though, isn't it? It just takes a lot of time. How long we've been on this for? An hour and 15. God, it feels like longer than that. Maybe I should stop complaining. Let's see about adding in like a bush in the background up here of some sort. I just need something in that space before I carry on, and I don't know what it will be. We could try like the Aurora brush maybe, and just like chuck in, but it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like the ground actually needs to be twice as wide as that. So let's bring back in the perspective guide. I can't see that at all. That's because my horizon is back there. So yes, it's possible, but it's going to look weird. Is it this layer? Bear with me, folks. Let's just try and make the street a little bit bigger. I mean, based off the perspective, it wouldn't be that. No, that's fine, actually. That is fine. Let's go into this layer. Not sure if I'm going to be able to neatly undo that or fix it, but we'll see. No, that's fine. That'll do. That'll do. What's up, Jesse? How are you doing? Good to see you. So when you make these lives into teeth, do you use the video and cut it and stuff, or do you start fresh? No, I never do. I never do. A live stream is simply just to muck around, draw, chill out with you guys. I then take the concept and then I'll talk you through the process. I have an idea for a stream, we draw it, we go from there. Then what typically happens is I will probably take the design, I take all the colors that I used in it, which I've already put to one side anyway, and then I'll take a look at it and go, okay, what can we do to simplify this? I'll take a look at the layers, and then I'll redraw it. And I'll redraw it again to make sure I understand the steps involved to do it. That's just freely on my own. And then I will then go to record, and I take all the information I need for the layers. So for example, what I do is I go to my layers and I go, okay, I've got all these layers. Let's say this layer was set to 5%. I'll rename this layer and I'll just call it 5, which lets me know I've got to drop that to 5%. Then that means that when I go into a tutorial, I'm recording this like this, and then I've got on the screen over on my side is all of my screenshots, all the information. Like for example, what I'll do is is I'll go to like here, for example. I'll take a screenshot. I'll go to the screenshot and I'll literally like grab the pen and I'll grab that color and I'll put that, say, to here, and I'll call it highlight, for example. And then I'll go ahead and do that for everything. I'll grab, say, these two colors here, and they are the colors for the ground and the bricks. That sometimes that's all I'll do, and then I'll grab another color and say that, you know, they go to there. And although they look a bit crazy and a bit messy, that's typically the process of what happens. And then I'll hit done, save it to photos, that's gone, and then I'll maybe screenshot something else. If I use a particular brush, I will screenshot my brushes that I've recently used just to make sure that I know what brushes I used. But because I try to stick to the same ones these days, it's fine. I don't really need to do that anymore too much. And what else is there? That's about it, really. And then when I'm recording, if I need to, I'll jump out the design. I'll just stop talking for a minute, jump out the design, come back to here and just go in and just check some of the layers just to triple check the colors maybe, or what color I used and stuff. Yeah, and that's it really. That's my process. I record it, edit it. It takes forever. So like one design gets drawn 3 times if it's drawn on a live stream most of the time. It takes three goes at the same design. So if it takes me an hour now, it's gonna take me another hour just to practice it again, and then it's gonna cost me another hour, if not longer, because of my tuition in terms of the let's do this, let's do that. And yeah, it takes a little bit longer to do again. So yeah, 3 times same design. Sometimes I'll let you know that, like, one thing that is really frustrating with how it works sometimes, I'll look at all 3 and I'll go, I really like the first one. Like, I really like the first one a bit more than the others, or something like that. Or, you know, I prefer the other ones I did in comparison. So then I'll look at them and go, could I bother like going in and changing it? Can I be asked, sort of thing? But most of the time I don't really bother. I just I take it for what it is. Sometimes they're a little bit different, but in my mind sometimes I kind of say, and this is like, you know, not intended in the wrong way, but nobody would have ever known anything else. Like, you would never know that there was a better version, or in my mind anyway, a better version. So you know, you won't know that there was a change, or yeah, I did one thing particularly different on that instance and stuff. So yeah, that's the process really. It's a bit of a painful one sometimes, it really is, but you know, we got to get it done. We got to get it done. I appreciate the love, Maddie. Your paintings are really great. I appreciate it. A lot of work behind the scenes then, Neural says. Absolutely. There's so much work. Joel, how do you do that? What are you referring to there, Jay? The screenshot thing? The drawing on top? Maddie says, a recent YouTuber I follow, if you like watercolor illustrations, Calvin at Drifter Studios. Oh, cool. It says, Joel, there was one design you used for a live stream. Remember? That was fun. What do you mean? I don't remember that one. Or Kat says, or he looks at it and says, forget it. It's too much work. Yeah, that is also a very true thing. That's why we feel the need to ask for tea if there's something we really like. The thing is though, like, I cannot actually afford to be too picky. If I turn around and say to you guys, this is probably not going to make it as a tutorial, well, I've wasted an hour and 20 minutes just doing this. There's no point in me doing this. The week is so packed now with Joel Designs, Joel Create, work, like my actual job, you know, balancing my life as well. You know, I just simply cannot afford anymore to not make something from something I've drawn. Everything I draw now gets made to a tutorial, whether I like it or not. It's just as simple as that. Has to be done. A stained glass heart. I did that on Yeah, I did that on Patreon. But yeah, I can't afford it anymore. I just can't. It's just ridiculous. It's getting to the point where I'm so overwhelmed, and I've got potentially this like new side gig as well going on top that Joel Designs may have to stop. And I'm gutted about it. But if it does, the other one's financially more beneficial to do, that Joel Designs may have to pause. There is absolutely nothing that would get in the way of there's nothing that would get in the way of Joel Create. Nothing at all. Unless someone wants to, like, I don't know, pay me to take my t-shirt off or something, like, and with like 5 figures a month or something, then, you know, maybe I'll stop drawing for a bit. Do you know what I mean? Jay, so that I never made it into a heart tutorial, but that was a little while ago. It was just a variation of the same tools, but the tutorial on how the functions on how to do it was the pineapple. In the post over on Patreon, I did say, you know, try and do the heart as well. Just use random colors. So that's, I don't know what you're asking or what the question is. Rob says, what I've learned from over the years of being an artist. No one knows what was in your head in the piece of work. Only you do. Exactly. The only live stream I've ever made into a tutorial was the neon. It was like a pride heart for one of our supporters, Melissa. That was it. It was a pride heart tutorial. I did live on stream. I literally made you lot shut up for a bit, and I just drew a tutorial as if it was live. There was mistakes in it. It was quite an interesting experience. But yeah. Oh, okay, hang on. Lindsay says, I got you 5k a month. One top off shot. Hey, listen, you talk to my PayPal account and we'll make something happen. I'd slip a nipple for 5 grand, I'm just saying. I'd slip a nipple for 5 grand. That's what, yeah. Full top, we're talking 5 figures. Easy 10G. Easy 10G. I'll stop before it gets a bit too crude. Anyway, shut up. This happens every week. Let's just draw, like, yeah? Let's be like normal people and just draw for a bit, you know? But we can talk money anytime, so just let me know. I can make money on resale. Hey, yo. That's one thing, right? Is I know, like, there's the whole leaking in, like, isn't there, of like people's like stuff, like that must like drive like adult creators crazy, like people just leaking their stuff all the time. Because like if I was to hypothetically, let's just relax, if I was to hypothetically ever turn around and be like, yeah, I'm gonna start flashing nipples for a 5 grand, someone will just leak it or put it on Instagram or something stupid like that, and you're like, well, I can no longer keep making money out of that stuff. Surely that's like a real, like, people must hate that. Also, I find that a weird scenario as well. Like, okay, we need to stop talking about this every single week. Normal people, we are not normal. I'm doing an icon pick for the no T-word. Oh, sick, awesome. Okay, no one's normal. I'm not normal either, but yeah. Rob's is here. Rob says, great hanging out, off to bed. Catch you all next week. Have a good week, everyone. Thanks for the live stream. Rob's, pleasure to see you as always. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you again next week. Jay says, yeah, but after the pride heart was the stained glass heart. Nah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, makes sense. What is normal? That is also a good question. That is a good question. God, we're getting a bit deep now, aren't we? Do we want to go down that rabbit hole? So what I'm thinking here is I've created like a little sort of random bush in the background. I'm not too fussed about it and I'm not too precious about it. But what I am thinking is like just adding like little areas of leaves and stuff that are like facing up at our light source. Just somewhat simple. I'm not too interested. We'll see what we think about this maybe. Just some bushes in the background. I think less is more in this one, and I think we'll also clipping mask it and really darken it up. I want the bottom edge of it to be nice and dark. I'm actually going to fade it out. I'm going to get into some of these areas as well. Take out some of those colours. That'll do. That's fine. It's not the main focal point. I might even blur it out. I'm not quite too sure yet. So what I'm thinking is, and I probably will blur it out. We'll see, we'll see. Tammy says, I think it comes up just because your reaction is always terribly entertaining. That's fair enough. I love this. I missed so much time, but it's like I never left. Absolutely. Still the same community. It just gets bigger. And I have to remember more names. And who's a pervert and who's not a pervert. And to be honest with you, one outweighs the other. And I'll let you sort of work that out. Mrs. Creator's always like, listen, if you want to start making some mega bucks, I'm all for it. You flash a nipple, you do what you got to do. The permission's there, it's just weird, isn't it? No, it looks amazing. Still giving me Bob Barker painting vibes. Who's Bob Barker? I've never heard of it. Heard of them. That's what got me addicted to stained glass. Milo remembers. Google him. I'll do it after this. Now, leaves are not actually that reflective, so they need to be toned down quite a bit. Which is why this layer here, leaves are not a reflective surface. They would have like a little bit of a color on the top, but just a little bit. That's better, much better. Okay. Now, what I'm thinking is that we're gonna have rain, okay? We're gonna have rain. We're gonna chuck it down. So I'm gonna grab like a light color like this. And what I want to do for the rain, and I was mucking around with it earlier, is we can maybe use something with a pressure sensitivity actually. So let's just muck around. Let's try the gloaming. That looks okay. Okay, that's too heavy. Maybe the pressure needs to be smaller. Yeah, something like that. Love that. So a good amount of pressure at the bottom, and then a much higher streak. And then just like thinner streaks in here. So this is where I might have to slowly think about how much of the surfaces are reflective or not, and what can we do to show that they are reflective. Whether it's like the odd little murky bit of color or a little bit of lighting, just a little something, just to show that. Now what we will also do is, just to add in some depth to the rain, we'll go to Gaussian blur and we'll pick the pencil variation. By the way, we used gloaming, so let's take a screenshot. Let's not turn off the iPad. You're not having my passcode, you lot can behave. Let's do that. I can't lean over the iPad. Nero says, this is looking amazing. My fave piece from you. Yeah. Oh, sick. I appreciate it. You've drawn so much already, Joe, even though our chatter is distracting you. Yeah, I mean, you lot are real pain to the process. But I'm only joking. You're all not that bad, really. What? This is such a weird effect. Like, it doesn't smudge correctly. Well, not smudge, but it Gaussian blurs. Maybe I do need to smudge. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to break up the rain and create some that are like a little bit more smudged out, a little bit, you know, further back potentially, just like a little something else to the rain. I'm probably going to have to create another layer of this and like chuck it a bit higher, maybe even reduce the scale down a little bit just towards the top end. And let's just go straight to Gaussian blur and blur that out just to show that some really are moving. Could even grab the motion blur and like move it, but I don't want to ruin the blob on the end, so I think I'll leave a few of them like that. So then what we need to do is in the water is create some ripples. Now what I'm thinking here is I'm going to be cheeky and naughty, and I can't be bothered to do lots and lots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in a circle, an ellipse. Do you know what? Let's not make it perfect. Let's do it manually. A little something like that. Then follow that up with another one. Like a little something like that. That's lovely. And then let's maybe reduce the opacity right down and just add in a little something like that, just to show that there's lots of droplets in there, and then we can maybe duplicate this like crazy or something. Chuck that there, for example. That's like the primary one. Hitting the water is going to look great. Oh, the rain, I love it. Damn, 10%. We got to get moving. Let's move then like this to a smaller spot and just keep duplicating it and just show how big the rain really is. There's lots of it. And that's fine. I don't actually think that that looks that bad. Like, it's cheating, it's lazy. It's not cheating, it's just lazy. That's what it is. Maybe flip it horizontally here and there just to break it up. That's lovely. God, we got loads here. What's going on? But I do really want to show quite how, you know, like a couple next to each other is always good. I always get sort of carried away with the fact that like things need to be like in their own space, but in reality things would be nice and random, nice and close to each other occasionally. A couple of them that are extremely close will look great. You can make some smaller, much smaller ones. Probably worth me making a stamp for that. That would save a boatload of time. Joel, do you do personal commissions? I do. But very infrequently do I actually accept them. In terms of, I'm happy to hear the idea, it just depends on, a lot of the time it's just price and time. Do you want me to show you one? What is it you got in mind? Or are you just curious? they're very infrequent, the commissions. It's just so, like, I've just done a logo for a cleaning company. They're fun because I actually did a logo for a nearby, a very local gardener, and I remember one of the most successful times I've ever felt doing all of this is when I saw the van. Me and Mrs. Create were at a garden centre, and I remember seeing the van and being like, that logo looks crazy familiar. I was like, yeah, mate, you made it. I was like, and I just remember turning to Mrs. Create and was like, look at that. Look, I did that. And like the whole van is wrapped in that, the logo and stuff. It's just so cool. Such a cool moment. Really cool. See, I'm trying to be naughty here and just duplicate the layer and just see if I can add in some more in certain areas without maybe having to redo it again. It's okay, but some of them need to go, like here. And here. The middle ones are fine, but the ones that are a bit too close are a bit of an annoyance. Let's flip this horizontally. Let's get some more into there. I really, really want to show quite how much it is raining. That's fine, we'll do that. How the hell did we just lose 5%? Oh, we'll be right back in a second. My cat, who was my essay. My cat who was my... Ginny, just drop me a message on Instagram and we'll see if we can work something out. But yeah, we'll see if we can work something out. Right, 2 seconds. I will be back in 2 seconds. Nobody move. I'll put it on the be right back screen. Just keep talking, and if anybody drops in, you need to let him know. He's getting his charger. He's useless. All right, 2 seconds. Everybody calm down. Calm down. I'm back. Hang on. Oh, blimey. Right, who left? Hang on. Let's plug this in. Come on. Go into the charger, please. Let's just flick this around in case anybody joins while I'm doing this. I'm just trying to do surgery on the iPad by getting that charger in there without taking the iPad out. Kat, do you want to get timed out for 5 minutes here? because you're going that way. Right. Okay, we're in. Alright. Da 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 da. Wait. Who called me? Who called me useless? Seems a little bit unacceptable, that one. Perfect timing for me to get out of the bath. Been saying that for ages. I guess Joe needed to charge too. How funny. I was talking about making a stamp for like the blobs there in the water. That'd be just the quickest way of doing it. How was your I was on vacations, just get back from yesterday. The whole Comic-Con experience took my time. How was Comic-Con for you, Milo? Did you enjoy it? Nothing but love for you, Joel. Ban. Right, I'm back. Everybody shut up. Right. Okay, cool. Cool. The rain itself. Where are you? Right at the top. Christ. These layers are getting big. Lovely stuff. Let's try. This design's got out of control. But the fun thing is, we're doing something like this is letting it just get out of control a little bit and just taking it down avenues. And sometimes I like to not have to think, oh, we're doing quite a bit here, this needs to be a tutorial, remember that kind of thing, you know? Like, I like just drawing without thinking about the imminent workload. Like, for example, what I'm trying to do here is just like introduce like glossy wet patches here and there, just trying to anyway, like make it look a little bit kind of glossier here and there. Now, what I actually did before was something a bit more like this. Let's see what this can look like. I don't think that's the right brush to use. Let's maybe try Spectra. Okay, maybe we'll come back to that. New subscriber on the old YouTube. It was Lindsay called me useless. He's out of control. I'm glad you had a good time, Milo. I know how much you were looking forward to it. But it's so creative and you can do longer video on it. Yeah, sure. I mean, let's just give up even more time of my week. You know what I mean? Let's just, yeah. I might as well just stay live now for about 7 days a week. Janine says, I work at a laundromat here in Royal Virginia, USA. And customers' clothes just finished drying, so I gotta go fold them up. So I'll hit you up on Discord, and everyone of you have a great day. I appreciate you dropping in, Janine, and yeah, just drop me a message. Right. I'm just looking at there. He's just trying to like create some of the bricks as if they were slightly a little bit more glossy and a little bit more wet, just to really emphasize the color changes and stuff. For example, those lines in the street, we'll get rid of them next time we do this, if we do this. An hour a day live, you say? Jesus, that'd kill me. Okay, let's carry on and get this done, shall we? What about maybe like a puddle of water here? Maybe we could even show like a little bit of like water here that's making its way here, and then just, you know, goes across the top of the surface here, just to the edge, and just drops that, just like runs down. I'm trying to do it with the brush. Oh, I love that. It's a lovely little detail of it just running into love that. Love that. A little extra detail just to show that there's a little bit of water on the environment. That's cool. It's very bright up there though. That's the only thing I would say. Yeah, that's interesting. So what we should do really is this here should technically be blurred. Like that should be blurred out a little bit in the water. Like let's maybe go to like a 5%. Let's try and do that, and then is it the mask here that needs to be blurred as well? It's about 4%. I know I haven't been on Discord in a while. I've had some busy weeks and still more to come. So I appreciate that there's so much going on in people's lives that the Discord takes a back seat. That's fine. I'm always in it, and literally I leave it open while I'm working. So if you ever got any questions or anything, I'm always about. Let's turn that one off. I like that one off. Now what I want to try and do is tone down a few areas and make this the brightest point. Everything else is looking too bright. So I'm going to try and do something about that. Like maybe just create a new layer and maybe like a crazy vignette or something, or really darken up like that. It needs to be like nighttime. Like a bit of a vignette around the bottom here as well, just for the sake of the design. Make that as bright as possible. At the same time, this here needs to go above that in a way. But select that and remove it from that. That's nicer. That's got a little bit of a better look to it. The one before was a little bit too bright. Like it makes sense. That's arguably more realistic, but for the sake of a design, I like that a little bit more. That little bit of a vignette, just focus the attention into the areas that we want people to look, which is the light source. So we made the light source yellow. I'm wondering if I can get away with a cheeky extra little summit in there. I'm also, and Lindsay says this to me a lot, is whether or not I can sneak in a little flare, but I don't think it's I don't think it works. I could flare off the ground maybe, but I don't again think that works necessarily, but we'll see. I'd love to put one in here, but it's not making much sense. I mean, it's not a million miles away off, to be honest. But it could instead be something right at the top up here. What if we added in a flare, let's say like up here, just out? Nah, see, that doesn't make any sense either. I don't think it fits. I don't think it fits. Interesting. Moody. I love it. Yeah, it's very moody. I like that. I like the look of it. It changes it up by adding a little bit of a vignette. Sometimes it's hard to keep up on Discord. You all do so much great work. That's very true. There's a lot of very talented people in there. Lindsay says, "Oh, that's a shame, but a flare in the puddle would work." Milo says, "No flare." Thank you, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't think the flare works in this one. The only way a flare technically works is if like the lamp was just out of frame here and you had like a flare running across the screen. I can show you, but it's not going in. Yeah.
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
Sorry, I've got a guest with me. Do I have a... There it is. What about this one here? Yeah, that's a nice flare. So if that was like up and out of frame, like that almost, where it's just peeking in, where you get the impression that there's a... I mean, arguably that actually looks pretty sick. I actually quite like that for the fact that you get an idea that there's a light source just out of frame. If you were to set that to... usually it's overlay. Overlay doesn't work quite so well when it's quite that dark. But if you set it to add, ignore that chopped off edge. I'll fix that in fact. No. Like that. That makes sense, but I don't really like it. It's going in on yours. Yes, that was Siri from my phone. But yeah, from my watch. That could technically work. Oops. 2 is too much. If you made that bigger. Chuck it over on this side. No, it doesn't make any sense. Flip it horizontally maybe. It's not awful. It's not awful, but I think I prefer it with it. Do you know what? I think I prefer it with it. I think I prefer it with that. Just leave it for a minute. Okay, that's fine. The details on the edge of the water are still driving me a bit nuts. Because they're still the wrong colour. This layer. Let's get to hue saturation. Let's boost the saturation up a little bit and maybe get it into like a yellowy sort of space, which is roughly here. Let's boost the brightness up a tiny bit. Like we could go very bright with the edges, but that doesn't really, that's a bit too bright. That's lovely. Happy with that. I'm back. That looks sick, Joe. I appreciate it, Funky. I appreciate it. No, don't push your values on me. I'll do whatever the heck I want. You don't control me. None of yous. None of yous. Oh my days. How many layers is this? 65-ish, roughly. Jesus. With flare, Kiki, or not? So flare resembles the street lamp that you can see there, but is above us out of frame, or without. Wait, what's happening? There, or without. Flare all the way. Well, there we go, folks. There we go. We did it. We got a flipping flare in there. Now, the only thing I'm thinking is because of the state of the fact that the water is a bit active, is whether or not these highlights on the bricks need like a motion blur horizontally just to break them up, because there's going to be so much in the water that I feel like they shouldn't be as crispy as they are. They should be like left to right, just a little bit. 26% motion blur. Let me just take a screenshot of that. 26% there. That I think is enough. That water, by the way, on the top there looks absolutely rubbish, but the concept is cool. Yeah, I'm gonna rock the motion blur in there. That just, to me, takes that little edge off of some of the details. It makes them look a little bit more just submerged. Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. There was a shadow I made further down. Is it here? Where is that shadow? Where the heck is that layer? Too much. Ignore that. Neuro says, I like it with, but personally I'd go without on this one. Ooh, tough gig. Yeah, listen, you can do whatever you want. You can put it in or you don't want to do it. Up to you. We'll see what happens in the full tutorial as and when that decides to happen. Shoulders are in. Man, so much detail. It's awesome, Joe. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Jay. It's fun to draw sometimes without limits or considerations. That's always a good thing. What's up, Robert? Ah, man, I'm late to the pie as per usual. It's not. It's completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. Lindsay says, "Looks stunning, Joe. One to look forward to." Lindsay says, "I posted an icon on Discord. just had a play during the stream. Awesome, I'll take a look afterwards. Robert says, hi everyone, I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you, Robert, I appreciate it. Neuro, I'm actually getting... Neuro, that bath must be freezing by now. Although, I have this awful habit. If I have a bath, I go steaming up. Absolutely red hot. I'm sweating in there. But I will fall asleep and stay in there until it's freezing. And I'll fall asleep. Like, it's the worst thing I can do. But it's the most relaxing place you could be right there. I feel like a fetus. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until it's my time. Or until I just, you know, go and start choking on some water or something, you know. Oh, you were topping up the bath. All right, fair. But yeah, that's my falling asleep in the bath. Really like the bush at the back. Very cool. Have you ever tried a float tank? I have not. Okay, the only thing I would kind of like to refine is this layer here, which is layer 61. And that is to motion blur, maybe this way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to erase these edges. I'm going to motion blur that water on the surface. Then, now I'm done, I'll go in with painting. Let's just use Spectra. Love that. Lovely, that's much better, much better. Shoulder is killing me. Let's do that. You would need to get involved with that. Super relaxing. I'll take a look into it. I've never heard of it, to be honest with you. What was it called again? Float tank. I'll take a look at it. Had one a few weeks ago after an infrared sauna Mother's Day gift from my boys. It was bliss, I tell you. Sick. Bella says, I think it looks fantastic. You do an amazing job making an image look almost photographic. I really appreciate that. I really do. It takes a lot of time, doesn't it, to get to a point where you're happy with it, and to the point where you can slowly build up details. But in reality, it doesn't look like that. Like, the reality is, it's like, if you zoom in on the details, it's super sketchy. It's like really sketchy. That's as in, like, what I mean is when you zoom out and take in the whole design, especially if you compress it to something like that, you know, like I'm looking at it on the stream there. If I was to compress it to even something that size, the details get crushed all the time. And if you crush the image to go into your phone, it's going to look even better. So, like, the bigger you make the canvas, the bigger, you know, the more likely you are going to see lots of small things. But always zoom out and crush it down. Sometimes you can try to, like, fill each like centimeter of space in the design in the canvas with detail. It's just not necessary. Like, it really isn't. Tammy says, aka sensory deprivation tank. Okay, cool. I'll take a look at it. That sounds familiar. On the bright side, the cold water sure wakes you up after. That's true. yeah, I don't think there's anything else I'm going to touch on this now. I think with this one, it will be one of those tutorials where the sketch is already done, and I'll provide the stencil of the sketch and we just block in the shapes. I think it's going to take too long to create like it's going to take too long to create a stencil, or no, like your sketch, then fill it in and etc. like that. And I've done quite a few lately where there's no stencil provided as a guide, so at the end of the day we're just blocking in shapes. I think it's like a real compromise between, do I teach people how to draw techniques, you know, from the very start, from a blank canvas, or get straight to the point of completing a design, you know, that kind of mishmash kind of styles. You can just see the ears of my wolf, just ever so slightly. Right on the points there of like my neck, top of my chest. Tammy says, I haven't done one, but they look amazing. Is that regards to the, oh, hang on, the Epson salts. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know about any of this stuff, but I really should crack on. Nah, not a new tat. I haven't had a new tattoo for a lot. The newest tattoo I've had is one for my dad, and it's just one on my ankle. It's in like a typewriter font. Ugh. Yeah. Which is, hang on a second, relax. Which is like just a little bit. Oh, forget it. Can't book it. Which is just a little bit of typewriter font around my ankle. That was the last one I had. But the thing is, right, when I was younger, the one thing I wanted, right, was 2 full sleeves. I wanted 2 full sleeves of tattoos and to link it across my chest. So quite literally from both wrists, I'm tattooed that goes in, there's no gaps, it's solid all the way up and across, and then down the other arm, all the way around the arms, all the way. It goes across my chest, it rolls over the top onto my back, and it comes down to just underneath my bosoms, about here. And then I've got separate tattoos for my ribs, which are fairly large ones, and 2 on my ankles. One is for my dad, which was No Matter What, which is a song by Badfinger. Great song. And the other is When in Rome. When in Rome is on my other ankle. So, but yeah, I would always say I would get more tattoos, but it's got to the point where I reached the goal of my coverage of what I wanted to do, and I've not necessarily wanted to crack on with doing any more just yet. There's other things that need to be done as well, like pay for. So, yeah. Oh yeah, they fucking hurt. In the center of my chest, right here, in this little pocket of space here, is the wolf's face. And I've not got much meat on my sternum there. And I will never forget, like, we left it till the end. He tried to do a little bit of it, and I was like, mate, just leave it to the end. And I think we were like, I want to say we were like 4 or 5 hours in. And then we got to it, and it was the last few bits, and it was, I mean, it was the worst pain like I've ever been in, like ever. And I actually took 2 days off work, I think it was, afterwards. Like, I literally got home, my body was so packed full of adrenaline to deal with this pain of like what felt like I've been just shot in the middle of my chest, to the point where I was like, I've got to take some time off. And like the next day I was like in bed, just like knackered, just completely knackered. Like, it was just too much, way too much. As in, like, it had to get done at some point. And I always had the mentality of, you're already sat here, you are not tapping out, get it done, go home. And it was awful. It was bad. Let me see if I can find you. Actually, nah, that's got to go on the OnlyFans. We'll leave it. I was going to try and see if I can find a photo of it. But it's like a wolf in the middle. And then either side here is mountains. Because, you know, man loves a mountain over here. The mountains that fade down into some trees. And then there's just like a little pattern underneath the trees to keep my bosoms up. So, yeah, it's fucking agony. Jesse says, I tattooed both my legs so much, my wife told me I had to stop. Yeah, someone will tell you to stop, and mine is my mum. And obviously yours is your wife. Someone tells you to eventually. The camera just died, overheated for a second. Oh, well, we're pretty much done anyway. We'll let it calm down for a second. So that was 2 hours and a bit on stream. That's fine. That's pretty good. It overheats occasionally, but that's just fine because it's also running into a monitor up here, so it's doing a lot. Janine says, I can't get a tat. Phobia of needles. I panic when in hospital. You know what's crazy is, like, every time I would go for a blood test, and they'd be like, oh, you know, which arm, whatever, and then you pull your sleeve up or whatever, and they're like, oh, you'll be fine with this then, and I'm like, I don't even want to look, like, just get it done, like, and they're like, really? And I'm like, there's a completely big difference between you taking some blood from me and going through the skin and getting tattooed that only scratches the skin, basically. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. And like, they'll often be like, oh, I don't have any, blah, 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 you know. I'm like, yeah, no, you take my blood and you get going. You get out of it. I got my wife's lips tattooed on my neck. It's my favorite. Did it hurt? I always said one day, I was like, do you know what? If ever I like won the lottery, I'd just go like straight up. But as I've got older, I would not do that now. I like the fact that you can't tell at all with the coverage. At all. I like that. Is it weird that I actually like the pain? Yeah, I mean, the pain, it's weird. It's not like an agony pain. Well, in there it is in certain areas, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. If men. What do you mean, Tammy? What did I miss? Funky says, I used to be like that, Joe. Hated needles, and then had to have chemo, and that was yikes. Yeah, I bet. I guess you just had to, at that point, just be like, this is part and parcel of this now. The needle is not the problem anymore. Or it's like, you just kind of get over it, I guess, at that point. Tats are addictive and tell stories. Yeah, I think as I get older now, like all of my, there's a number of tattoos that do mean a lot to me, but then there's other ones that really don't. Like, I've got a flipping dragon on the inside of my arm, and like a Chinese writing and stuff. I have everybody dies, but not everybody lives, which is tattooed up on here on my shoulder. I love that. It was a lyric from a song. I really like it. I think it's very cool. Rolling Stones on the inside of my arm for my dad when he had cancer, and that was back in like 20. This is a long time ago. I think it's about 2014. That was fucking hard work. That was mentally. That was tough. But getting the Rolling Stones for him, that was cool. But he hated tattoos, so he was like, I like it, but I also hate it at the same time. I was like, meh. A little bit of love is fine. What else is there? Got two swallows followed by the scene and the wolf in the middle. The wolf, actually, I really deep down love for a meaning or two. And then I don't even know what's on here anymore. Chinese writing there. This arm's just rubbish, really. Yeah, just rubbish, really. And then my ankles mean a lot to me, which is my dad one. And the When in Rome is my friends. It was like 2016, and it was just a summer where every single time it would just be like, should we do blah, blah, blah? And just someone would respond and be like, When in Rome? Or like, oh, should we just get some tinnies or some drinks or whatever? And yeah, it's just always like When in Rome, When in Rome. And I was like, I'm getting that. And then me and two of the other boys also got it tattooed on them as well. So yeah, that's cool. Which, when you think about it, is a bit of a laddish thing and is a bit of a tacky thing when you're kind of like getting a tattoo with your mates. But I was getting it. I've always said that. Them buggers copied me. I'm not having it any other way. Robert says, I wish I had a better idea of what I wanted to do when I got my first tattoo a little over 30 years ago. None of my tats have anything to do with each other. Neither do mine, Rob. Neither do mine. It just is what it is, isn't it? We just get stuff because we want to have tattoos and they think the design looks cool. And that's just it, really. Neural says, there's a 21 Pilots lyric I want tattooed on me. That's cool. If it sticks with you for longer than like a year or two, that's when I always think that you should get it. If you really want it. That's what I think. But when you're younger, you're impulsive. So you're like, nah, I listened to it this weekend and it's sick. I just got to go get something done. And you're like, just calm down. Just calm down. Yeah, so a couple are nice because they have like meanings and stuff. But some are just pointless. Some are just pointless. Let's see if the camera wants to come back on and join us before we wrap it up. But yeah, I think I'd get a new tattoo at some point soon, hopefully. We're back. We'll just leave it for a minute. It's a bit crooked, but it's all right. So this is what we ended up doing today. This really cool lamp scene. Potential things to rectify. I think maybe the lamps there wouldn't be two. Maybe we ditch one or even move it off to the edge of the screen. That's the only thing I think I would maybe rectify. Everything else I'm really happy with. I like the fact that this one is off-centered and the lamp is out of the scene ever so slightly at the bottom. Oh my god. So yeah, it's I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, 100%. The line is sometimes quiet is violent. There's quite a few variations in multiple different songs. Sometimes quiet is violent. Okay. Oh, right. I see what you mean now. Sorry, I didn't get the end quotation. But there's quite a few variations in multiple different songs too, I like. But that's the one. That's cool. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives. Love that. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Like, it's not, I'm not one for like wishy-washy stuff kind of all the time, but it is fairly true. Like, you just need to go through life and just do what you want to do. Enjoy yourself. Just don't take life too seriously either at the same time. Robert says, very true, Joel. They all have their own meaning or memory tied to them. I'd love to get a sleeve, but I know how to tie it all together. Yeah, that's true. Filler is a tough one, especially if they're different styles. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. 2 hours and 20 minutes. Who's paying me for this 20 minutes of overtime? 21 minutes now. Jesus Christ. You lot, you get away with it. I don't know why. An extra 21 minutes. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'm waiting. Do I ever stream over on Twitch? No, I do not. When I first started streaming, I would co-stream, so I do both on one at the same time. There's no point. I just don't have a following over there. To the point, it just doesn't make any sense to build a following over there, you know? My subscribers are here on YouTube. I might as well just keep it all in one place. There's no real benefit over there. If anything, yeah, it makes no sense. No sense. What do you mean, oh please, Joel? do you mean? 22 minutes now. No one's. I've got 50p. Do you know what I mean? What's going on? Yeah, I used to do it along at the very beginning. I would stream over on Twitch at the same time, but it's really funny how like all of this goes in different directions, and you think at one point and you have a plan of how it's all going to work out, the whole content creation, and then it just goes down a different avenue. You're always thinking, maybe I'll go down the live streaming route as sort of to maybe sort of create a main income kind of thing. Maybe we'll do that and stream a lot. You know, maybe I could stream like 3 or 4 times a week or something like that. And then like tutorials and stuff, and then Patreon picks up even more, and you go, okay, that goal is now no longer applicable. I need to go this way instead, because Patreon is key and is my main priority. And then yeah, just like lots of things just come up and take you in different directions and whatnot. So yeah, Twitch and just live streaming, I don't mind the once a week anyway. I think once a week is good. I think if you do it too much, it ruins you can't get everybody together potentially for the same day and stuff if you're doing it a lot, and you know, and some people want to hang out with the same people and stuff. So I think if we do it as we are, it works out nicely. It works out nicely for me and you know, family life and stuff. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Listen, guys, it's been 23 minutes now, and I'm seeing, you know, it's getting ridiculous. Oh, it's flipping shoulder. Right, let's pack it up before my shoulder packs up as well. Cool stream, cool design, really happy with it. We will see about when and if and how this ever comes out as a tutorial. But make sure to come and join me either on Patreon if you're not a Patreon supporter, or in the Discord. The Discord is completely free. You can come and hang out with the community over in there. The next tutorial is coming out on Friday, which you can have a wee little sneaky peek if you like. But if you want sneaky peeks all the time, I'm never actually going to refer to them as sneaky peeks ever again. That didn't sit well with me. Sneak peeks, then you must come and join me over on Patreon. Sneak peeks come out all the time, super early, and you can get a look at what's coming up. So this is going to be this week's YouTube tutorial. It features a like a nightscape. I've kept it a little bit smaller, so yeah, it's not 100% high definition sneak peek, but this kind of vibe. Also, there's different color variations of it as well, something like that. And the whole idea is that this area of the ground here is in focus, but the rest isn't, and we've got this nice noise effect. And I will slowly start to, I think, try to conquer city lighting and stuff. This one is a very nice entry level for it, but a fun concept, you know. Fun concept. We've got the noise grain in here. You can see all the noise, just like as if you're taking a photo at night and it's really grainy, like you'd expect. But this area of the ground is in real crystal focus. We've got like this really cool texture on the ground. We're not drawing in any cars. It's just lights, street lights and stuff. So a fun tutorial, different color variations. As I said, this one here is the one that we actually draw, and then at the very end I'll show you how to create variations where you can make them like more blue, like this, or this type of blue. So that is what's going to be coming up on YouTube this week on Friday. So keep an eye out for it, prepare yourself, get ready for it. It's easy. I think it's about 45 minutes long. Good fun tutorial. I do jump about a little bit in there because there's a lot of things we have to build up and jump backwards and forwards. I'm hoping the edit's all good with that, but yeah, it's fine. I'm glad you all like it. That is on YouTube on Friday, so it's publicly available, free for everyone. So you can check that out on Friday. The glitch tutorial came out this week on Patreon. The next sneak peek will probably be later on in this week for next month. You are gonna love it, but you have to be a patron to see that. You have to be a patron. And if you want sneak peeks, they come out all the time on Patreon. You can even get early access tutorials. If you're not a patron, this one, for example, patrons had early access to this on Monday, sometimes even on the Sunday, 5-6 days early. So be sure to head over onto Patreon for extra benefits like early access, get your name featured in videos, sneak peeks, early access, I think I already said that, and all sorts of other stuff. So that's this week's tutorial. Yeah, that's it. Nothing else to say. Have a wonderful week. I appreciate every single one of you hanging out with me, listening to me nat for 2.5 hours on the internet. I will see you again next week. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy your weekend, and I hope it's a creative one. And I love you all very much. So I'll see you again next week. Peace.